Hello, everybody. We are starting it off right here. I know it's been a while since we did a live stream. Since I did a live stream on this channel, I think the last one was it Shazam 2.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's been a while. It's been busy. Ain't really had the time nor the energy to, keep it going. But here we are. We are back on the channel. It's your boy BrogiNaric here with my man, Mr. What do we call you, Brandon? Mr. Brandon Wallace.
Yeah. What do we call you? Your name's not on the screen.
Right. What do we call you? Your name is right there. But hold on, let me do a check real quick. Just want to make sure.
Your name's not on the screen.
Right. What do we call you? Okay. No, we sound good. We sound good.
We sound
make sure
good.
the audio sounds good. Yeah, we sound fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wallace, introduce yourself to the people.
Well, if you're familiar with the channel, you're probably familiar with me in some capacity. I'm in a few videos. I don't know. I'm your friend. And that's why I get invited to
your podcast. Come on, the podcast.
Who fucking cares about the podcast?
Oh my god! All right.
No, I co-host a comic book podcast with my dad. It's called Panel Surfing. You can find that anywhere. We introduce one another to the comics that we read and loved growing up, and to you, the listener. Check it out if you want. It sucks, but go ahead and check it out anyway.
That's fine. It's fine podcast.
It is
lovely.
It is
lovely
fine.
Podcast. So, okay, yeah, there you go. Hey, Cuba's in the chat. Hey, I sent you the link if you want to hop in.
Yo,
if you want to hop in, I sent you a link. I don't know if you saw the movie, but you know how it is. Other people might be hopping in as well, but we're going to be giving spoilers for The Flash for a week later because this movie dropped last week during Father's Day, and I don't know about y'all, but I have a dad in my life, so I had to celebrate Father's Day, so I wasn't able to do that. And also it was a busy weekend in general, because so I was heard it was all right. Yep, you heard it was all right. It definitely was the most all right film released this year. But as we know, this film there was a lot of. This is a crazy story. That's the production on this film itself is crazy, and the fact that this movie actually exists is a shocker to me because. I don't know if anyone knows. It's been sort of an inside joke, but I didn't think this movie existed for like the longest.
I'm still not certain it does.
I'm still not certain it does because it came and went like that at the box office. But,
yeah, that's true.
Surprisingly, the Flash movie it exists. Different directors, different stories, and different companies running the company that made the movie. There's a lot going on. Architects were brought in, then they were gone. There's a lot going on with this film. And it finally came out to okay results, I guess. So I guess the first thing I want to say, and I might come off as a hater when I say this, but I just want to say that the DCEU is finally over. Let's clap it up. It's over, people.
You didn't try at all.
It's finally over. It's done. Got a little something here for him.
It's over. You lose.
It's done. All right. It's done.
Yeah.
Sorry, Warner Brothers. Sorry, Snyder fans. Sorry, Jeff Johns fans. It's done. It's over. This was the final nail in the coffin. Get it out of here. It went out with a whimper. It went out sad. And I think we just need to move on. It's just a mess. How are you feeling about the DCEU finally being put to bed? It's kaput. It's done.
I could not be more relieved to see them put down this dying dog.
Yeah,
because that's all it's been. It's
been.
Been an old sickly racehorse that they keep running and it keeps losing. No matter what they do. And occasionally it wins a race or occasionally it comes in third or fourth or whatever. And it does fine. But it's sick and it's dying and now it's finally dead.
Yeah, it's they went out sad. And it hurts for me because I'm a big DC fan and it's just been
as well.
Yeah, it's just been a hodgepodge of like you almost was there or you completely missed it or if you would have did this instead of that, it would have been better, And that's kind of how I feel about this movie. It's like this movie would have been a lot better if they would have did certain things as opposed to what they actually did. Right. I think one of the problems for me with this film overall initial thoughts, I think it's an okay film. it's not the worst thing ever, but it could have been a lot better than what it was. But my biggest problem for when I saw it in the theaters is numbness, because even though there's some jokes and there's some heartfelt moments which are there, most of that stuff didn't work for me. How did you feel about the film overall?
Okay, so I really liked it. I would go so far as to say, and I have said to you, that I think I loved it. But I'm not here to bat for this film. There are plenty of issues with it. Most of those issues got leaked online about a week before the movie came out. So we all went into the movie kind of knowing what the issues were going to be.
A year before. A lot of it got leaked a year before.
Yeah, good. I mean, the whole plot got leaked a year before, certainly. But I'm referring to some cameos that are rough. I didn't see those a year before. I saw those. Yeah. I saw those the week before. Yeah. I really like the movie. You know, a lot of that stuff that didn't hit well for you did hit pretty well for me. I found it surprisingly good because I didn't go into the movie thinking I would like any of it. So I was pleasantly surprised throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. Now I knew something was up when I got to the theater. I was running a little late, and I wasn't late for Spider-Verse. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But I got and I pulled up to the theater, and there was barely any cars in the parking lot. I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." And I went on a Saturday. I saw Spider-Verse on a Sunday. That parking lot was packed. I came to this on a Saturday afternoon, and it was not that many cars in the parking lot. I was like, "Ooh, I don't know about that." And then the theater wasn't. It was a big theater, but it wasn't. By the end of the movie, I realized it wasn't packed. I was like, "Oh, this movie ain't making no fucking money, bro." And it didn't.
It did not. No.
And a lot of people are surprised because we went into this with a lot of hype, a lot of just praise for this film, and I have to ask: is this the best comic book movie ever? How do you feel about that? This being the best comic book movie ever?
No.
No.
I think the best comic book movie ever. Man, I guess that would be hyperbolic to say, but the best comic book movie of the year came out a week before this one did, at least.
I would agree with that. That is a fair.
It may be hyperbolic to say that Across the Spider-Verse is the best comic book movie ever, but goddamn, it's good.
It makes a strong argument.
It does.
And a lot of people was like, "Oh, they overhyping this movie, overhyping Spider-Verse." So I'm like, "No, it deserves its hype."
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think its strongest competition is Into the Spider-Verse. So
yeah, it's its own other movie in its franchise. Yeah,
which I think might be the best comic book movie.
And like Endgame and Dark Knight and Infinity War, like heavy hitters. Like heavy hitters.
Yeah. So
Flash don't come close.
Flash is not in the top 20.
No, not even close. And for some reason there was a lot of, hype. There was a lot of people praising it, because another thing that hurt this movie was a lot of early fan screenings, like a couple weeks before the movie came out, and they kept doing it. And that built up a lot of the hype amongst, the influencers and other people who were like, "Oh, this movie is great."
Yeah, all the people got to see it for free.
Got to see it for free, yeah. And one of those people was my boy Ian. I wanted him to be here because even he said, which was interesting, he said that when they saw the early screenings, the shitty effects that were in this movie were in the early screenings. And it's kind of interesting.
But you assume that, that'll be fixed. This is an early
exactly.
Screening, right?
That's exactly what he was saying. Like, you kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. You think the effects are going to look different when you see it, a couple weeks later. That was not the case. That did not happen with this film. And people were really overhyping it. And I just want to know, why all the ass kissing? Why all the ass kissing for the Flash? I just want to know. All right. I want to have an idea. Why was this the movie where the industry was like, no, we gotta hype this one up? I know Warner Brothers put a lot of money into it, and I know, they've been in production for 85 years making this movie, but they put a lot of stuff in this. We got a lot of people you don't even hear talk about movies popping up. You got Stephen King, of all people, popping up on Twitter like, "Hey, I don't usually watch comic book movies, but something about that Flash.
That Flash movie, I tell you what.
That Flash movie, I tell you what, that thing is heat." And I'm just like, why? Like, what's the point of that?
He lied. Y'all need to worship him.
Fucking Terry Crews out of nowhere. Terry Crews, that's the one that don't get mentioned. I remember seeing it on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't hear about Terry Crews.
Terry Crews was like, hey, you know what? I happened to see The Flash. It was a really good movie. And I'm like, Terry Crews? What? Like, Terry Crews is not an influencer.
Y'all need to worship him.
Tom Cruise, of all people. Tom Cruise is out here talking about, I love cinema. You know, he's the savior of cinema. I don't know if y'all know that. He saved movies a year ago with Top Gun Maverick. They got him out here.
I wholeheartedly believe that Tom Cruise is only doing that because he's trying to secure more IMAX theaters for the next Mission Impossible. And that's the only reason. He's like, if I come out and say that this movie is good, you are going to let me have, you're going to pull whatever movie I need you to pull so that I can get these theaters.
Absolutely. Tom Cruise, the king of Scientology, he coming out here backflipping for this movie.
He lied. Y'all need to worship him.
That scares the shit out of me every time you do it.
And then we got my man, my boy, James Gunn. Now, James Gunn, I'm on the James Gunn train, but you got to hold this L, James, because he was out here twerking and backflipping for this movie, talking about this is the best comic book movie he's seen. Granted, he already did Guardians 3, which, you know,
which is significantly
amazing.
Better.
Absolutely amazing. And then he's out here saying this movie is great. And then a week before the movie, a couple days before the movie come out, he on his best friend's podcast talking about, well, actually the best comic book movie is actually across Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Y'all need to worship him.
I don't know why. What's the point of all the ass kissing? Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, D Movie Man. How you doing, D? I had to get that off. I didn't sit there. I had to get that off though.
Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Well, I got a question for you, D.
Yes, bro.
Why all the ass kissing for the Flash before it came out?
That's a good question. I'll be honest. Like from the beginning, like I took this even before before the Ezra Miller stuff. I already was kind of like, because you know DC's trajectory has been very up and down. Marvel has had issues as well, but it's just like DC has never quite gotten where, like, it's like they don't recognize like their own impact or like how interesting their own characters are, their own storylines, all this other stuff. So kind of going into this, I was really iffy, like just from the get-go. But going, and then even when I started hearing all the stuff, it's like, me personally, I always have to kind of block out additional noise. Like if people have their perspective of something, then that's fine. But I feel like it is always going to be, not even just for a film like this, a superhero film, a comic book film, or whatever it is, but whenever you say this is the best blank of all time, that already invites a whole bunch of, you know, like that carries a bunch of weight, that then brings a bunch of attention, and then that sets expectations in this crazy way. And I'm just like, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, I don't care how good or bad, presumably good. I don't care how good this film might end up being. I might even enjoy it. I still know that it's not the best comic book movie ever made. It's just not possible. Right. So I just feel like you're setting yourself up for failure when you do that. The same thing they did, which, I mean, it was still a good movie, but I felt like it was the same thing when they kept doing it's the best Marvel movie since Endgame. It's the best Marvel movie since Endgame. It's just like, you can't do that. Like, that makes no sense. I understand you. I understand you want
the best comic book movies since Dark Knight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I understand you want to bring people in, but that's not we know it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. Don't lie. Yeah, don't lie to my face when you say that. Like, it's like, come on now, that just sounds ridiculous. So they got to hold this out. Now, a lot of people were shocked that the movie bombed as bad as it did. I was not shocked. I didn't think it was gonna do as bad, but you know, the predictions of the week before was like, it's gonna do at the highest 120, or you know, it might hit the 80s opening weekend. And I was like, if they're lucky, 75. And it did 55 the 3-day weekend. I think it did 64 the 4-day weekend. And I believe they said this weekend it had about a 73% drop, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy drop off. Like, that's bad. That's really, really, really bad. But outside of all of that, we're going to talk about the movie itself. I want to start with the lead character, Barry. I will say Ezra did well. I thought Ezra was fine in the role. I was not a fan of Ezra Miller when they were first cast because I didn't know who they were, and then seeing the what was it, the Joss Whedon version of the movie, was not the biggest fan of that portrayal of the character. The Snyderverse version I thought was a little bit better, but I still was not the biggest fan of Ezra Miller in this role. Yes, yeah, that's the first time I saw it. It's amazing. I still remember that scene in the theaters. I was laughing because I was like, no one knows who that is.
Yeah,
it doesn't even look like that. No one knows what that's supposed to be. But anyway,
do you remember when we went and saw that? How fucking fed up with the movie I was by that point.
Yeah, that was a dark day when we went to see BVS. That was a dark day, but Ezra Miller in the role, I thought they did fine. The two different berries stuff was fine. A lot of weird jokes and goofy jokes that hit or miss, mostly missed for me. D Movie Man, how did you felt about Ezra's portrayal in this film?
Yeah, I think for all intents and purposes, I think they did a fairly solid job. I thought, and for me, I think part of what made it work so much for me was, and I know we've seen it before, but it's very much Freaky Friday. The whole idea of kind of switching places, and there are other examples too. But the whole idea, or even like the Adam Project, the whole idea where like there's this future self and this younger self, and then it's like you are almost having to kind of teach that younger self about the reality of life and all that kind of stuff. And so I thought, from that perspective, and of course, in this case, teaching him how to become the Flash and that whole role reversal. And that's why that's why I mentioned the Freaky Friday part, because all of a sudden one has powers that should have powers, and the one who shouldn't have powers all of a sudden has powers, which I didn't see coming. So, so I think from as far as the performance, it worked. I think some aspects, obviously, of younger Barry was a little obnoxious and over the top. I didn't need Barry cheeks. I don't know if that sequence.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of naked Ezra Miller in this movie. Yeah,
I was just like, oh okay, that was a choice, but I at least appreciated how it's, I guess, story wise, the way that played out, as far as the past, the present, the future, and then how. Like, it makes you think about, like, what would you say to your younger self if you had an opportunity to go back and actually tell them things, and what would that look like? So I thought that, at least in itself, was interesting. So I think the performance overall was pretty solid.
Yeah, I like the stuff with the stuff with the mom was cool too. Wally, how did you felt about the two Ezras, the 2 to 3 Ezras, I guess?
The 2 to 3 to 4 to 5.
Yeah.
I genuinely enjoyed the performance. There was more reference to Barry's dick than I was expecting.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
They mentioned it like 4 or 5 times. It feels like
they actually did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it pops up a couple times. There's more reference to it than I would have expected. But
yeah,
no, I really enjoyed it. I think they sold me on both versions of Barry. Yes, younger Barry was annoying, but he's also a version of Barry who didn't grow up in the foster care system at all. He grew up with both of his parents, so he's sheltered in a different way. He's an annoying, he's just an annoying douchebag in a lot of his scenes, which I really like, as opposed to our version of Barry.
The switch up was weird though, wasn't it? Because like the movie starts off, he's very obnoxious, and then as soon as he goes back in time,
as soon as he goes back in time, he's more mature.
All of a sudden, yeah, he felt more like traditional Barry, which was, I preferred that, but it was like such a weird shift, the movie got there. But
and I didn't know who Ezra Miller was before they were cast, just like you. I think I maybe had seen Perks of Being a Wallflower at one point and been like, oh, it's them. I don't know how Ezra's done some shit in the last year that has made everybody not like them very much. Anybody who keeps up with that sort of thing, which I was telling you before we start recording, most people haven't, weirdly enough. But this sort of made me forget about that for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And immediately upon walking out, you're like, oh yeah, Ezra Miller should go to jail, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Ezra was good in the role. I think surprisingly good in the role.
Yeah. Interesting enough. Now, the person that this movie was really marketed on, I have to say, Michael Keaton. He did good. I like Keaton in the role. Keaton held it together. I will say, Keaton didn't disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
He did the best. Yeah, he did the best he did. I like the suit. All his action scenes were cool. The scene where they first introduced him at the
Wayne Manor.
In Wayne Manor, yeah, when they're in the kitchen. I thought that was a really good scene. That was probably the only scene that they didn't show in all the trailers outside of everything else. But it was a good scene. I thought he was fun. There was some iffy moments, like the whole I'm Batman thing didn't really need to be in the movie because
Let's Get Nuts.
Yeah, Let's Get Nuts didn't need to be in the movie.
I was so confident that was just trailer fodder. I can't believe it's actually in the film.
Yeah, it's there, and then they hold on it for like a good 3 to 4 seconds for the crowd to cheer, which was crickets in my theater because we had already seen it 80 times in the trailers.
Exactly.
But it was cool though. I like the use of his tech, like some of his new gadgets and all of that. The one line from the old movie that they kept that I liked was the "How much do you weigh?" bit when he was trying to use the bomb so they can go up the shaft. I like that. That was fun. The new plane, how it spins on the gyro, that was cool. That was cool. Him fighting Kryptonians was neat. Him having a death wish was neat. It was fun. I liked it. Now, I don't know why they thought Keaton's Batman was going to hit like Toby and Andrew, because they clearly thought that it was going to hit like Toby and Andrew. It didn't. Wally, how'd you feel about Michael Keaton back as Batman?
I mean, it was cool to see him again. I don't have any like complicated feelings about Keaton's Batman, I guess. You know, fine. I don't hold those movies in such reverence as other people do, I suppose. But like, it was cool to see him again, and like, yeah, he's easily one of the best parts of the movie.
Absolutely. D, thoughts on Michael Keaton coming back as the Batman?
Yeah, that was my main draw. I'm going to be really honest. Been rolling with Michael Keaton since '92. That has been my Batman / Bruce Wayne. And not even just that. That, along with Mask of the Phantasm and the animated series, that was my Batman introduction. And by extension, my introduction to superheroes. So there's a lot of respect and appreciation I have for that. Of course, and it also, I'm sure, helps that some of the films we got after that were not received as well, and we went in some really bizarre directions. So that was really kind of my main thing. I'm like, if this all is a mess, if at least Michael Keaton and just this depiction of Batman, if that works for me, then I'll at least be happy with that. Like everything else, I may have issues with, but if we can at least get that part to work, I can at least feel, that inner child satisfied in that sense of the word. And I thought, even beyond just the nostalgia part, because I don't want to just make it about that, but I actually thought as part of this film, I thought he worked really well. And I liked just the dynamics we see with him and within the rest of the characters. And even what his eventual outcome is. Because I didn't really, I guess I should have seen it coming, but I still didn't realize with the little twist that they did in the story, that his outcome would be what it was. So yeah, him. You mean when he died and he was just like, "Just let me die. Yeah. I just want to die." Yeah, but that also being something that they couldn't like surmount. Like you can't like change this. This is going to happen.
This is a fixed point. This is a fixed point in this universe.
Right. Yeah. This as they said in Spider-Verse. This is a canon event. You can't change it. Which I like.
Oh, he's gone.
The explanation with the spaghetti, which kind of made sense, but they were just
weirdly,
you mess around, but there's certain things that's going to change, but like certain things can't change. Like they took all the different multiverse stuff and just threw it together and was like, it's all of it at once, and you got to be careful. And I'm like, sure, why not? Now the other thing that a lot of people were hoping to see. Oh wait, hold on, I went the wrong way. A lot of people were hoping to see, and I thought he did fine. Was Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, as Batman. We didn't talk about it yet. The opening sequence I thought was not good. I thought it was a lot going on, and most of it didn't work for me. I mean, it's called The Flash, and I don't know why him running up the building and saving all the stuff falling took it felt like
It's gone again.
40 minutes. Like that scene felt super long for it to be The Flash. I don't know why. I didn't think it looked all that great. And then Bruce Wayne, Batman, I don't know. Something about Batman in the daytime I don't think works that well. That's just me personally. So seeing him, on the bike in the daytime, I'm like, the suit doesn't look good. I wish he had more screen time, though. I will say, I wish Ben Affleck had more screen time. We could get, back into the character. Him running into Wonder Woman, that was cool, I guess. I'm getting tired of these Wonder Woman cameos where she's just there for like 3 seconds and then she leaves. I don't know. The opening scene. Whichever one wants to go first. I'm gonna picture Diwali. How you feel about the opening sequence? The babies, the microwave, the dog, all that shit. The barista, whatever. I don't know.
It's I love it. I think.
Yeah.
So I told you I went into the movie not expecting much at all, and from the second the title card starts to show up, that little sequence, when it finally does show up and he takes off from Central City to Gotham, I was sold on the whole movie. I
liked him running from Central City to Gotham. And then the more it happened, I was like,
it worked for me. I know it's a goofy looking effect. I know it's silly. It worked for me. That bat suit's ugly as sin. It's just it's terrible. Suit. And again, we get to see boring Gotham that has no interesting anything. Is it Gotham? Who fucking knows?
It's the city.
They say it's Gotham.
Yeah,
but that's
kind of the Nolan effect. Nolan really did that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's Jersey, it's Chicago,
with Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, where he really tried to make it feel like a real city. I don't want real city, especially because it's in broad daylight. Yeah, you're right. The bat suit looks weird in broad daylight. It's also one of those bat suits that has like the very clear nose underlining that's like touching his top lip and everything. It looks off. Yeah, it wasn't the best suit. It really wasn't.
It's not a good suit for him to go out on. But overall, I didn't mind the baby scene. It looked ridiculous. The CGI is it's gross. But I really liked it. I liked when Wonder Woman showed up. For this 3-second cameo. I like the lasso of truth joke that they recycled from Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yeah. I was like, they did that to Joss Whedon. It was funnier there too. So all right,
it worked for me. I
got nothing for you, gal. Just there you go.
I don't think it was great overall, but I really liked it.
The opening scene, how you feeling?
So it's like, I have more than one feeling. I think, and that's always the challenge with films like this. I think from just a pure entertainment spectacle appreciation perspective, I was fine with it. I would say my issue is that it's more or less, I'm not trying to literally draw that kind of comparison, but it's hard not to. But it's more or less a retread of what we've seen with Quicksilver in the X-Men films. And the scene kind of amounted to that kind of dynamic. Now, I'm not saying that that's not to diminish it, because I think it was still cool. The fact that he was trying to like all these, because I really was thrown when I realized all these things are falling out at the same time. I'm like, so how does this work? I know he's going to do it, but it's just like, how?
Yeah. How exactly? Yeah, how is the crazy part?
Yeah, and so seeing the pieces fall into place, as disturbing as some of the imagery was, like the tools going towards the baby inside the microwave, like all this stuff. It was like, oh, all right.
Acid.
Acid. I was like, geez.
Dog.
The dog. Him stopping to eat.
Him stopping to eat. That's what I wanted to get to. Him stopping to eat was, I didn't know that.
I thought it was fine, but the CG, I mean, because his face is clearly not attached to that CGI body at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just the way it looked was rough.
It looks rough.
And that's what I'm saying, like taking away like the spectacle. Oh, this is fun. Wow. looking at like really paying attention to what's on the screen, it's like, it's like a lot of like there are a lot of moments like that in the film where it's almost like nightmare feel because of how off-putting it looks. So that's where the disconnect came in. It's like I like the idea of this and how you guys were executing it, but it was also kind of like, this is a lot at the same time.
Now, how do you feel about the director saying that his bad effects was intentional? And y'all don't know cinema, you don't know art. So how y'all feel about that? Is that bullshit? Is that acceptable?
The director has little to do with the actual VFX at the end of the day. So I think that's more him just trying to cover for Warner Brothers, because if he wants to make that Batman movie, he's got to say nice things about the Flash.
We'll get into that.
So he's got to cover. He's got to take the brunt for Warner Brothers so that they let him make the movie he clearly wanted to make, because this is definitely a Batman movie with the Flash sort of in it.
Yeah, they did. Well, no, it's a Flash movie, but the Batman stuff is still pretty good. I gotta say,
the best stuff in the movie is the Batman stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, not all, because there was another character.
There is another character, yes,
that did very well, and hopefully they'll continue. And that was Sasha Calle as Supergirl, who I think most people who've seen this movie were like, she was solid. We dig her as Supergirl. I thought she was cool. Mm-hmm. Now she's not necessarily an unknown, but this was like this poor woman. This was her big break movie, sort of like with the original Supergirl movie. And Helen Slater. And it's now another. Maybe Supergirl just doesn't work on screen, because they had a successful TV show, but Supergirl on screen is just not. It's not been hidden. But she did very well in the role. I liked her. Liked the suit.
Yeah,
liked her portrayal, the way they did her powers and all that. It was good. I hope they keep her around. D, how you feel about old Sasha Calle as the Girl of Steel?
Yeah, no, I thought Sasha Calle did a really great job. And I was iffy about it because you never know how. I mean, granted, I was already familiar with Supergirl, but I'm like, there's like with a lot of these characters, there's a right way to interpret them, and then there's kind of a wrong way, or a way that can just be very off-putting and just forced or whatever it is. So even though I was intrigued by her inclusion, I was like, are we gonna land this right? And I think as soon as she was on, it's like, okay, I think I'm in. And then as we went on, even though she didn't have like a super, like her role wasn't ridiculously massive, I just think she had a certain type of presence in her scenes, and just even the subtlety of her, her demeanor and all that. I felt in sync with her, and it didn't necessarily require her to do a whole lot. But I believed in her, in her goal and her mission, and what she was trying to achieve. Although that whole twist situation kind of did her in.
I like that. I thought that was pretty good. The she's talking to Zod and the revelation of what happened to Kal-El. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a neat change. Wally, thoughts on Sasha Calle as Supergirl?
God bless Sasha Calle for carrying this movie on her back for the last couple of months, as far as marketing is concerned,
marketing,
press
and promotion.
junkets, just all of it. I think she was great. It's not necessarily it's certainly not a traditional take on the character, but I guess nothing about this movie is traditional, right? I really liked it. I think the costume is fantastic. I think her character motivation, what we get of it, is very good. I mean, her only thing that she wants is to find her cousin. Mm-hmm. And then, once she finds out what happens to her cousin, it's a full-on slugfest. I love that. Right. I would like to see more of her, because ultimately this movie did not give her a lot to do.
Right.
Yeah. She gets to be angry a little bit, and then flies off, and then turns around and comes back. And she goes,
basically.
And she's like, never mind, I will help you. And then, we're in spoilers discussion, and then she repeatedly dies for, an eternity, essentially.
For the last half of the movie. I actually did like that sequence of them trying to fix everything, and the different ways they would die. It's like, oh man, this is not good.
Yeah,
this is not good.
I like Keaton's first death of just flying the
just
Batman.
crash the plane. Which I'm like, he knows there's a force field. Like, how does he not see the force field? It's right there.
About it. He didn't think about
the force
it.
field, and he's like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm done with this. He's like, this is crazy. He's like, the last thing I remember fighting was a fat guy and a crazy chick in black leather. I'm done with this. I'm just done. Done. But yeah, I think the chemistry between these were fine. The chemistry with Batman was good. Not enough for me, like I said, to love the movie. But one of the things that I thought I was gonna hate, I will say, one of the things I really thought I was gonna hate, but actually looked way better when I saw it on the screen, was the actual Flash suit. I thought that suit looked really good on screen, and it popped. The colors, the patterns in it, it's reminiscent of the New 52 suit, but I will say it looks really good. Like, it looks really solid. I remember when it first appeared, the helmet looked way bigger than what it was. When you see it on, it's much more streamlined. You know.
Can you go 2 images to the right? Is that scene in the movie?
I think
I don't think it is.
I thought it was, because that was from the first trailer, and I think that's when they were trying to find Supergirl. I think.
I don't remember, because it looks like they're in the cage that they find her in. And it looks like she's flying, but they carry her out of there.
Yeah, that's something else. So yeah, but it looks like it's that set. But you're right. That particular shot, I don't believe is in the movie.
The helmet in that right there looks bigger. That looks more like a practical helmet as opposed to like what ultimately is the slim down CGI
slim down one. Yeah, which looks way better.
Oh, so much better.
Yeah, the suit, and like you said, the dick jokes when Younger Barry puts the suit on, and he's like, it's real tight in the dick. I was like, okay, all right.
It hurts my dick.
Yeah, these are jokes. Oh, boy. Naked Barry running through this. Now, I will say the scene when Younger Barry first gets the powers and he's fucking everything up, I thought that was a good scene if this was an origin story. Like, if this was like an actual origin story, this is the first time Barry has his powers and we're seeing this, that I think would have hit better, as opposed to like, we've seen the Flash, we've seen him be goofy before. Now it's just another asshole being goofy. Right. Also, it's Ezra Miller endangering the public. It's like, there's a lot of weird parallels going on in this scene, and this is what's going through my mind. I'm like, oh boy.
I really like the scene right after Younger Barry gets his powers, and they're in the Central City Police Station. They're in the lobby, and our Barry, and he's trying to run, and he's doing the goofy ass run though.
Let's get to it.
I like that. I thought that was funny because it's like, oh, they're clearly pointing out how shitty or how dumb that run is.
His run is ass, and they double down on it, and I fucking hate it. I just hate it. They double down on it. Hey, this guy can't run, and it's a meme, and we're just gonna lean into it. The speed skating thing. It's just it's not good.
I liked it.
It's fucking terrible. I hate it. I'm gonna let D. So, what's some of your most hated moments in the film, or disappointments in the film?
Well, the last thing to say about the suit is because I know, and granted, I didn't have any. It's a little different. With certain characters, I come in some people have an idea of what they want a certain character to be, and for me, if I haven't read that much, or my experience with a particular character hasn't been as extensive, then I'm kind of going with the flow, and I'm allowing you guys to craft what this character should be for me. So with the way that they kind of designed his look in, Zack Snyder's Justice League, or even the Justice League, it was a lot bigger. It was more kind of Power Rangers-esque as far as the sections and the pieces. A lot, just a lot more
kind of handmade.
A lot more complicated as far as the construction. But I like that they made this version just sleeker. And just, I don't know, like you said, the design and the I don't even know
pattern. The patterns in
the patterns, and just like where his powers are clearly being shown, and his force and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was just a really great upgrade. So I want to go ahead and say that. As far as disappointments, and this ties back to what the director was saying about the CGI. Now, what I'll give him is that the whole sequence in, where, Barry makes it in that whole place where we're kind of out of time, and then we're trying to
the chrono bubble,
Chronosphere.
Chronosphere, whatever
Yeah.
the fuck they called it.
Yeah.
Some shit they made up for the movie. Yeah.
Right. But the chronosphere, when he gets to that moment and you see like how everything looks, yes, it's kind of ugly, but to me, I can understand why that look would be there, because it's very kind of off-putting and alarming, and we're just kind of seeing time and these memories just kind of shift. So it makes sense, at least in that case, that everything would have this alien, unnatural, very off-putting look to it. So I think, at least for that, those moments, I was fine with it having kind of a more odd look to it. I don't think that holds weight with some of these other scenes that should be a little more serious and grounded. Yes, there are explosions and there are powers, but I'm just saying, as far as the look of it, it shouldn't be as cartoonish. And I don't know what their goal was when they were leaning into that. So I will say a lot of the CGI and a lot of moments, and even just where I could tell they were trying to paste Ezra's face, like that really stood out to me. I was like, oh, this is not like a human person standing
That's
there.
interesting, because I didn't have that. I thought the double, I didn't notice the double's face that bad.
I think
I just wasn't paying attention that hard. But
I think I know what scene you're talking about, though, specifically, because you're talking about like our Barry when he's got like the soot all over his face and he's looking around at all the cameos, and his face is very clearly CG replaced.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Yeah, it's that, and then there are some other ones where like younger and older Barry are standing together, and there are times, and I know I wasn't looking for this, so that's how awkward it was. That's how
it stood out to you.
Yeah, but it's just like I kind of would notice, and I guess it just seemed odd. It didn't seem like a situation where they had filmed two Barrys and they were putting them together. It felt like, oh, let's CGI this one, and then this is the real one. So it made for an odd look whenever it popped out at me. So that was a little odd. I would say another disappointment is it's probably that there is, like, it can go either way, but I didn't really care for General Zod and the fact that there was not a real villain. Like, I understand.
Let's go.
I understand like what they were trying to do, having him in the mix again, and seeing how that would play out. But to me, that took away from there being like a bigger, bigger stakes and a bigger situation, a bigger villain, a bigger antagonist. You could probably argue that other version of Barry that we see is one, but they still didn't do a whole lot with that. So when we got to Zod, I was like, I'm not really feeling this.
Okay. Yeah, you hit some of the home points for me. Wally, some of your disappointments with the film.
So you kind of stole mine right there at the end. My biggest disappointment was that there really wasn't a central villain, let alone a Flash villain at all.
Ding 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 ding
no
ding.
Flash villains.
Yep.
Ding 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 ding.
Yep.
Like none.
First fucking Flash movie, no Flash villains.
Yeah.
What are we doing, movie?
I mean, because the
main fourth best rogues gallery. Where is his villains?
Yeah, I mean, he's got like, he's his own villain in this movie, which I guess if you're going with like New 52 Flash and the show Flash, like, that happens all the time, right? He becomes his own villain.
That was literally season 3 plot line.
Yeah,
where with Savage, oh my God, keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, but I mean that was my biggest disappointment with the film. Obviously, my most hated moment of the film, I think, is most people's most hated moment of the film, is the big spheres of cameos that happened, and just how tasteless some of them are. One of them is amazing. I think one of them is fantastic.
One of them is great. Could have been his own movie, surprisingly.
Could have been his own movie. I think that they should have done that for all of them. Just be like, hey, we'll never have Tom Cruise be we'll never have him be the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Let's do a cameo with Tom Cruise as the Green Lantern. Yeah, the George Reeves one. Man.
Whew. That was rough.
Yeah, Christopher Reeves and George Reeves one. Real tasteless shit. However, the Nicolas Cage one is fantastic. I love that whole thing.
I will say that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
It was spoiled for me, but it was still pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
And then there was the whole issue of there's another Flash who's running through there, and everyone thought it was what's his face from season 2 of the
they
Flash.
thought it was the guy that ended up playing Zoom.
Hunter Solomon.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was just some CGI.
They say it's a DH John Wesley shit.
I highly doubt
it's not, but that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. It's not.
It's not.
It's some AI shit that they created. It's definitely not John Wesley ship. Because they could have just called John Wesley ship. You don't need to de-age.
Yeah, he would have been happy.
Yeah. He would have been out there.
That's another thing I don't like, is that we have all of these cameos, so many Superman cameos for some reason. We don't have a cameo from the only person who's played the Flash for the last 9 years. Or I guess he's not the only Flash, right? Because John Wesley Shipp played him too, but neither of them show up.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's a big issue I had with the movie, was that you had no Grant Gustin at all. Apparently, they didn't even ask him.
Didn't ask him. Didn't bother. His show was announced after, as we all know. Maybe you don't know. The show was announced and in production after this movie was announced and in production. Mm-hmm. By the time this movie came out, the show was ending its 9th season. The 9th season of The Flash was ending. This is pretty much a lot of people's introduction to The Flash. They do a movie with
it's the only thing that kept interest in the movie going at all.
Right. And nowhere to be seen. Not the 90s Flash, not the 2000s Flash, nothing.
Yeah.
But we got George Reeves, a man who shot himself because he fucking hated being Superman. We got him in the movie. We got Christopher Reeves in the movie because we
own his face.
We already had another Superman, so let's add more Superman.
Why not
Brandon Adam West in the movie because Brandon Routh, thank you, who is essentially playing the same Superman. Just bring him in. Jesus. And then apparently his other cameos, I heard he wanted to add Linda Carter, Marlon Brando's Jor-El, Cesar Romero's Joker, and it was another person. I'm like, none of these people have anything to do with the Flash. What the fuck are we doing? Why are we doing this?
So yeah, that's my biggest gripe with the movie, is the cameos. Jesus. I think.
Yeah, you hit a lot of my disappointments. The villain, Dark Flash. Fine, I guess. They were barely in the movie, but the twist that Dark Flash was other Barry. I already knew that was coming, but it was like how we got there was kind of, I don't know. They really didn't really build it up that well, I don't think, until like that third act where they're just like, they're going back in time, and he gets the shrapnel in him, and I'm like, okay, that's how he gets all the the black armor on him, and Dark Flash is just Savitar.
Yeah,
it's literally just Savitar from season 3 of The Flash. Which I remember when season 3 of The Flash happened, a lot of people were shitting on that season, and in hindsight, it's one of the better seasons because pretty much every season after that is just fucking garbage.
Yeah,
but they and that's Zoom. They took the Dark Flash story where it's Evil Barry, and they thought this was going to be heat. And it was like, we've already seen this damn near 7 years ago.
Yeah,
if you fuck with the Flash, you've already seen this 7 years ago. So the reveal of Dark Flash was whatever it was. I do like that it was the other Barry that took out Dark Flash, though. I do like that.
Right.
When he like the alternate Barry,
he let himself get killed to kill the Dark Flash.
Right. What the hell is it? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Here it is.
There
it is. Yeah. Dark Flash. He took himself out. Him being older Barry who just didn't want things to, he had to, he lived in a world where his mom survived. So he's like, well, I can make sure everyone survived the different times of Supergirl dying, which is another thing that I didn't hear anyone complain, and it kind of bugged me.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael Shannon clearly was just collecting a check to play Zod,
right?
Which I'm not mad at him. He was clearly collecting a check. He literally said all the lines. He probably had maybe 3 extra lines that he didn't say in Man of Steel. Make that money. But I thought it was weird the moment where it's revealed that him and this crew killed baby Kal-El, and now they need her because she has the codex. Which once again, and this is going to go over maybe some people's head, this movie actually has a better plot than Man of Steel because the codex storyline is completely dropped in Man of Steel, but for some reason this movie is the main plot where they're like, no, we want the codex.
Yeah, we need that thing.
Because for some reason in Man of Steel, he could get the codex. He literally incapacitates Superman and puts him in that room where he's in the room full of skulls. If you really wanted the codex, you could have just taken it while he was knocked out. Regardless. Anyway, how does the Kryptonians have a needle that can pierce Supergirl when she's fully activated?
But they didn't have one that could pierce Superman?
Well, that's in general. It's like if she's already, her powers are activated, how is that needle piercing her skin? Now, unless it was kryptonite tipped, but I don't know.
It's got to be made out of whatever metal they're wearing,
This is
right?
the thing that was annoying me. Not enough to ruin the movie, but it was just, yeah, right? Isn't it the same armor? Anyway.
The metal they're wearing doesn't get destroyed when she punches them, really. So it's clearly stronger than Earth metal.
It's stronger than, sure. Michael Shannon just showing up was kind of whatever. The idea, I did like that scene though, where I think Zack Snyder had mentioned that the other heroes did try to intervene in the original Kryptonian invasion. They just couldn't, really affect it or anything.
Right.
So seeing a young young Barry trying to save that one kid, I thought that was a neat little scene. I will say that was a neat little scene.
Yeah.
Something to say?
No, I'm good. I guess there's one thing that happened in the movie. If I can still talk about things that I have a gripe about.
Yeah, go ahead.
So once they get into the new world, the whole movie happens because he goes and prevents his mom from dying.
Yes.
And we get one scene in the new world and the new reality, the new universe, whatever, with his mom. And then we don't get another one until he goes back in time to stop himself from doing the thing that he did.
Yeah, the stuff with the mom was fine.
I don't have a problem with any of the stuff with the mom. I think that was fine. I'm just surprised that they don't utilize it more. Like once we see other Barry, other mom doesn't show up, or mom doesn't show up again. Until the very end. That's
true. My only problem with these scenes are they didn't hit as hard as when Grant Gustin did them in The Flash. Like at all. That's just me personally. Like Grant Gustin killed those fucking scenes in the show. So seeing it again was like, it was all right, But it's like the first time you see it, it's like, hey, it's a little hard to top. Now, as you said with the cameos, these have got to be some of the, and these are not really cameos. These are just walk-ons of CGI AI characters. But these got to be some of the most piss-poor cameos I've seen in one of these movies in ever. First of all, this is how they did Henry Cavill. This is how they did this man, Henry Cavill. What the absolute fuck?
Hey, look.
If you didn't want him in the movie, don't do him like this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, at least they put something that kind of looked like his face in there. So,
jeez.
I'm surprised they didn't do just like shoulder down.
That's true. But I would have preferred shoulder down because this is just offensive. The rest of these cameos, like you said, the Nicolas Cage joint was cool. I'll give it that. And I don't like spiders. I fucking hate spiders. But that scene was dope as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. That scene was lit. I was like,
Clooney was fine, I think.
I could have had a whole movie of this. That shit was cool. Clooney was fine. Clooney would have been better if it hadn't been spoiled for me. Clooney was spoiled for me.
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks, because it was on Twitter where it was rumored that he was gonna be in the movie. But Clooney was okay. Sure, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Reeves and was it Helen? What's her name?
Slater.
Helen Slater. Helen Slater's still alive. I don't know why they felt the need to CGI her. She's still alive. She still looks fun. She looks, she can play Superwoman.
Nick Cage is alive too.
Yeah, but he's expensive. I can kind of get why you don't have Nick Cage.
They've said they filmed the scene with him.
That's what I heard too.
Clearly, they didn't. But
yeah, I heard that they filmed it too, but then they gave us this, so I don't know who to believe. I don't
Right.
know who to believe. The George Reeves thing. Initially, I was like, "Who gives a fuck about George Reeves?" Like that was, I get it. Old heads might care, but I kind of forgot about the whole him shooting himself thing. So it was like, "Oof,
Yeah.
you probably
Momoa at the end was kind of nice.
didn't need to put that in there." I don't know who this guy on the corner is. Oh, is that? Oh, that's Momoa. Oh God, yeah, Jesus. That's one of the worst post credits I've ever seen. That was so just.
I feel.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So if you're
I don't know.
So if you're listening to what Barry's saying to him, I think they only put that in there to establish that like Clooney's not coming back because he's basically like yeah, I kept going until I got something that was basically the same as. Like,
that's what he was saying because I wasn't.
yeah,
even paying attention to what he was saying.
That's why he said like you're the same in every universe, but like Bruce kept changing and other people kept changing.
Okay, yeah.
That's how they explain that Momoa is still there and Miller might still be there. Depending, but like we're gonna get a new Batman, we're gonna get a new Superman, we're gonna get a new whatever. I think they only put that in there to explain that away.
Didn't do a good job because I didn't really care what they were talking about.
Yeah.
But the moment when he's looking for Aquaman and his dad picks up the phone, that I didn't need that. That was lame. These cameos are just terrible, just awful. And the whole movie is really time travel, but it's a multiverse in like the last couple of seconds of the act, and it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't hit. It was so weird.
Right.
And as we said, no Flash villains. It's a Flash movie. No Flash villains. We got the goddamn what was it? The Chronosphere, which is not a thing. They made it up. He has the cosmic treadmill. If this is a Flash movie, I want to see the cosmic treadmill. Give me the cosmic treadmill. I know it's stupid. I want it as a Flash movie.
Go back. Go to that image.
Yeah,
the one of Barry looking up. Like in that scene, like that feels like a face replacement, or they've touched it up with CG. That's one of the scenes that I was talking about earlier.
Right, with the face.
Where that feels weird because normally I didn't notice any face replacement between the two. I thought it felt pretty seamless to me, but I've heard a lot of people say, or like, oh, it really caught me off guard seeing a CGI Barry face or a digitally replaced face. I didn't pick up on it in any scene other than this one.
Yeah,
and it was when he was on screen by himself.
By himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to see it again because I don't remember anything particularly standing out to me. But now you know I gotta ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask this question, but
where's Batgirl?
No, not where is. I said, did Batgirl die? Batgirl died for this movie.
Yeah,
we got rid of the Batgirl movie so we can have this Flash movie, and I guarantee you, the Batgirl movie would have been actually profitable.
Yeah, probably
compared to this fucking travesty here. I guarantee it.
Well, it was being marketed off the exact same shit. It was like,
Keaton's back. Keaton's back. He's gonna be in the Batgirl movie.
Yeah,
and Zaslav said, "Nah, fuck it."
Yeah,
the industry was like, "Oh, it's a terrible movie. This is the worst." Now, if this looked bad, but the Flash looked good, that's why when I said they said that I don't trust it.
Yeah,
I don't trust it. They said the Batgirl movie looked bad, but the Flash movie looked good. D, are you there? No? Okay, he's hopping it out. Because I was going to ask him. Batgirl died for this. And it's absolutely ridiculous. They might as well just go ahead and release the Batgirl movie at this point. Because, it ain't going to hurt. It ain't going to hurt at this point. You know what I'm saying? Just drop it on HBO Max like you were going to do originally.
Yeah.
And you might actually make some money off of it. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I agree. I would have much rather had seen Batgirl than the Flash.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
But
once again, like I said, didn't hate the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Had some missteps, a lot of missteps, but it's an okay movie.
Yeah. And I will repeat what I've said. That again, I think I really loved the movie, but I also acknowledge that everything that we've talked about is very much true about the movie. I don't necessarily love it I don't love it going like this is a perfect movie. I love it like, oh, this is a disaster, and it's kind of entertaining that we got a movie at all.
Yeah, in a weird way. in a weird way.
Like the fact that it exists, the fact that it was in development hell for 14 years. It went through 10 different rewrites, 8 different directors.
Yeah,
but
they kept EZRA though,
and they kept
the lead actor is terrorizing Hawaii.
Right. Well, they'd already filmed the movie at that point.
Lord have mercy. All right. True, but it's after the fact. They still had reshoots. Anyway, then COVID happened. They had to push it back. Remember, this was supposed to come out, 2019 originally?
Yeah.
19 or 18 originally. So, yeah, it's a whole mess. Speaking of which, MVP of the movie. I'm going to go with you, Wally. Who was your MVP of the movie if you had one?
Man, I guess I'd really have to say that green bull from Doctor
God
Strange.
Damn it. God damn it. God damn it.
It's probably that green bull guy. I mean, they're in a multiverse. And it's
you're right. Multiverse of madness.
It is a mad multiverse, I tell you what. And he was there probably.
Probably.
God, I don't know if I have an MVP of this movie. I really like Keaton and I really like Sasha Kaye, but I don't feel like either of them got that much to do ultimately. And I don't want to give it to EZRA, even though I think they did a really good job in their role. So it's really tough. I guess I'm going to give it to Sasha because, like I said, thank God for her. She carried this movie on her back. And this movie failing is nothing to do with her, I don't think.
Okay.
So she's my MVP, or Michael Shannon just coming in to get a paycheck. One of them.
Hey, yeah, right. That's the real MVP. That's coming in, get that paycheck, get out, and then shit on the movie before it comes out. Like I didn't fucking like any of that bullshit.
I had no fun doing this.
I had no fun doing this, but I got that check though. All right, Michael. Okay.
So one of the super people, I guess.
Okay, so one of the Kryptonians. D, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, MVP of the movie.
Okay, so on the petty side of things, I technically think the MVP of the film is everyone who said that they were not going to support based on Ezra Miller's actions and were ready to see it fail. And considering that they brought them on a red carpet like nothing had happened, and we see the financial circumstances now, I think those people are the MVPs right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So the people who didn't stick by their word and the people who did stuck by their word are the MVPs. That's amazing. I love it. I love that. That is great. I can't even top that because I don't even know. Yeah, that's damn. That is. I wish I would have thought of that. That is perfect.
You can always take the green bull guy, man.
MVP of the movie. You know what? This is gonna lead it to my next. Well, not my next set, but you know what? I'm gonna give it to Keaton. Fuck it, give it to Keaton.
Hell yeah!
I'm gonna give it to Keaton because he's just strolling in, reliving his glory days and getting paid for it.
Yep.
And whether it fails or bombs has nothing to do with him because he's not connected to any of these other movies. So
yeah,
there you go. Get that check. Just like Michael Shannon. Him and Michael Shannon, my two MVPs. Just coming in, coasting off nostalgia, and then getting the fuck out when it doesn't work out. I'm going with Keaton. Now, I wanted to ask this earlier. Who did the multiverse better? We got a lot of options to pick. And this is not just movies. This could also be like TV shows or whatever. Who do you think did the multiverse the best in your assumption of what you've seen? I'm going to go with you, D, first.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Hey, there you go. That is the correct answer right there. That is the absolute correct answer. That is also my answer. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Wally, who do you think did the multiverse better?
I mean, I really like that green bull guy.
Yeah, okay. So Multiverse of Madness?
No, God no.
Sam Raimi?
I mean, I do like Raimi, but no, I'm not going with that. God, that's a tough question. But it's not. It's easy one to answer. Actually, I'm going to go with Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, that's a good pick. That's also the correct answer. That is also the correct answer. Yeah, those two are top tier. Anything Spider-Verse, Into, Across, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I would put Multiverse of Madness over this slightly over this. By this I mean The Flash. Then what was the one with the Ninja Turtles? The Turtles in Time. Remember that? That was really kicked a lot of this shit off, but it kind of got lost in the sauce. But that was the one multiverse thing that really kicked this stuff off a couple of years ago when they had all the different Ninja Turtles coming together. That shit was awesome.
That was like 2009.
Yeah, that was years ago, but it kicked a lot of this shit off though. When you really think about it, like in terms of like the popularization of this, like it really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to do DCEU rankings, but I don't really care. Do y'all care? You want to rank the DCEU films? Your top 5 at least? Okay. All right.
Sure. I mean,
I'll go with you first, Wally.
God, that I wasn't prepared to actually do it.
That's why I didn't want to spring it on y'all like that. So.
Shoot. I'm gonna.
Right.
Fuck. Suicide Squad, number 1.
You said The Suicide Squad?
Yes, The Suicide Squad, number 1. Like Man of Steel, number 2, because I really like that movie. And then everything else can kind of rot in hell.
Oh God, okay. D, you got rankings if you want to do them.
We're talking. Are we? I just want to make sure. Are we talking
Snyder Justice League? Snyder Justice League number 3. Sorry.
Okay. But we're talking DCEU or DCU at this point.
Yeah, DCEU. So no Joker, no the Batman, just Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman 84, Shazam, Aquaman, Snyder's Justice League, Black Adam, Birds of Prey, BVS, Shazam, all those months. If you want to rank them.
I think it's obvious that Wonder Woman 1984 is one of the best DC films ever made. But
hey, that's a fire movie.
No, I think so. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm being extra at the same time. So I will. Okay, honestly, unpopular opinion, I'm sure, but Birds of Prey, number 5.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I actually like Birds of Prey, and I think what helped is that the original or the initial take on the Suicide Squad put such a bad taste in my mouth that I remember going into Birds of Prey kind of thinking like, oh gosh, what else are they about to do with Harley? And then I ended up really enjoying it. Now I do know that they do a lot of chopping and screwing with characters, but it's one of those things where because I don't have that experience and I don't have the connection, that it's not an issue for me. So just going off of the film itself and how entertained I was by it, yeah, I'll put that like number 5. I would I'd probably put the first Shazam at 4. At 3, I would put Wonder Woman. At 2, I'd put the Suicide Squad, and at 1, I'd put Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because I was really impressed with that one. Like Justice League. I mean, from the beginning, I was like, I don't know about this, and I was so irritated watching that film, and not even knowing the behind the scenes stuff. But I was like, I don't. Like, you got Cyborg talking about, man, my toes hurt. I'm like, I don't know who with dialogue or any of this. So the fact that not only was it, Zack Snyder's vision and it came together, but it's just like so many aspects of what I would have expected or hoped for, the way it came together as, I didn't care about it being long, but like that final sequence with Flash and Cyborg, like, and how they come together and Darkseid, that took me down. So yes, I got that. Number 1.
All right. If we're doing from 5, I'm looking at my letterbox here. We're going from 5. I got Man of Steel at 5. Controversial take right here. I got Shazam! Fear the Gods at 4.
What?
I got Wonder Woman at 3. I got Shazam at 2. And I got The Suicide Squad as number 1. That's still number 1 out of the DCEU for me.
Hey,
if you're wondering,
we matched up.
Yeah, if you're wondering where the Flash is, I have the Flash at number 8.
It's not bad.
Yeah, Flash is at 8. It's right behind Zack Snyder's Justice League. And if you're wondering what 7 is, controversial take, I got Aquaman. Aquaman is only there because it's not as long as 4 hours. So there you go. And that's my rankings. That's the only thing really holding Snyder Cut for me. It's just it's 4 hours. So I guess
if I'm gonna have to round out because I only gave 3, I'm gonna put the first Shazam at number 4 and Wonder Woman at number 5.
Okay.
Just to put those in there because I do think
Yeah.
those are both good. But I think Wonder Woman was amazing the first time I saw it, and then upon rewatch, it's like, ooh,
See,
actually,
it's the opposite for me. It got better the more I watched it.
I just don't like the ending, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying it got better because it's like everything outside of that ending is so much better that I can.
Oh yeah, I know, but that ending really let me.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I'm not.
It's a good movie. It deserves to be in the top 5.
Yeah. Now, one thing I just want to say for the future of the DCU is rough. James Gunn. Like I said, I'm on team James Gunn, but he keeps talking, and it's getting more confusing because initially, the start of the DCEU was going to be Superman Legacy, but then it really starts with the Creature Commandos cartoon, but then actually it's now
Blue Beetle.
Yeah, but now it's actually starting with Blue Beetle. It's like, all right, what are we doing here, James? So I will say they need to do a hard reset. Whenever Superman Legacy is supposed to come out, push it back a year, let it breathe, because
They still got Aquaman to come out too.
Yeah. Now I will say, people are kind of saying doom and gloom for Blue Beetle and Aquaman too. I do think Aquaman
up.
Hey, I'm sorry. That's the words in the streets. I know you want to see Blue. I want to see Blue Beetle. I get it.
I don't care about Aquaman too, but Blue Beetle, I need to do well.
Yeah, I don't think Aquaman 2 is gonna bomb because people keep.
I don't think it's gonna bomb either.
The first Aquaman made $1 billion, and I'm like, if James Wan can make the visuals just as good, if not better, and a slightly better story, not even the greatest story, just a slightly better story than the first one, that movie's gonna kill overseas. So I don't think that movie's gonna bomb. I don't think it's gonna hit $1 billion again, but I don't think it's gonna bomb. With that being said, Andy Muschietti, the director of this flop known as The Flash, he is doing the Brave and the Bold movie. Now, I personally think that after seeing this movie, I wish they would have waited till the movie came out before they announced that, because I personally think that is a terrible idea. Even though he did very good with the Michael Keaton scenes, I don't think he should be rewarded with Batman after this movie. I really don't think he should be rewarded with that. However, I will say he should do the Supergirl movie, in my opinion.
Oh,
I would switch him from Batman and give him the Supergirl movie that they're working on, because he clearly had a fun time doing Supergirl. He clearly wants to do fantastical stuff. He clearly wants to be a little loose with it. I think that would be perfect for the Supergirl movie. Give Batman to someone else, but that's just my theory. How are y'all feeling about Andy Muschietti doing the Batman Brave and the Bold? We'll start with D. Is he there? Okay, D must be there.
I am.
He was thinking
on.
Okay, my bad.
Okay. No, I am. I'm kind of on the fence about it, and here's the thing: like, I don't know. This is not a cop out. It's really not. But I know sometimes there, and especially with Warner Brothers and the studios and all this interference, I know we've seen that there are a lot of things that that muddy up the works as far as the director's vision and what they can ultimately contribute. Not saying that he isn't responsible for a good amount of this, but I think there's a possibility that what we saw here is not all on him, and that was something that is obviously not going to have all of this, this bombastic, over the top, in your face. I mean, it's Batman. We're going to get something, but Batman is already a more grounded character, and the universe is a lot more grounded. So it's possible that he may bring something to it that works. It's just, I think only time will tell if what he brings to it is the worst of what we saw here or the best of what we saw here, or it could be a weird program, but we'll see.
That's a good way of looking at it. I hope it's going to be, because it's going to be a different writer. It's not going to be the same writer that wrote this, so that might also help. But I will say the It movie, the first one was really good. I never saw the second part, but I heard it was kind of but it still made money. And now he made this, and it's a flop. So I'm just saying the track record's not the best.
Right.
I would not put him on Batman. But Wally, what are you thinking about Andy Muschietti and Brave and the Bold?
I mean, I sort of stole the words right out of my mouth. It's hard to say with any definitive or it's hard to say definitively that this movie is bad because of Andy, and not, Warner Brothers' notorious meddling with their products.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Justice League as an example. Between the two different versions, again, one of them was made with hindsight, but either way, it's still a significantly better product, and it was more or less the vision of one person as opposed to a studio. So I think, and It Part One is so good, and I think if he brings that level of fun, I think he's got a really good grasp of horror. Batman's not necessarily horror, but there are elements of it, especially if you're doing Damian Wayne and the League of Assassins. You can definitely get some of that in there. I think if he and his wife are allowed to really bring their own voices to it without too much meddling from Warner Brothers and potentially even James Gunn, who knows? Because so far we haven't seen what James Gunn is like as a leader or how he lets these projects get made. We don't know anything about that yet. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't know if he's going to try and have his fingers in everything, just the same as Warner Brothers does. He seems the type who wouldn't, but you don't know. So it's hard to say. I'm gonna say I have hope, but also based on how many directors this movie went through, I don't count on it until that movie starts filming.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, because they could take him off, or
move him to a different project.
Move him to a different project. Creative differences, because Ben Affleck was going to do a Batman movie, and he was like, well, once we get the story right, that's the only way I'm going to do it. And then he never ended up directing it. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, but I do think I do think he would be better for Supergirl, in my opinion.
I think he would be better for a lot of different projects, but I mean, I'm hopeful.
He wants Batman. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was looking kind of bright for the DCU, but after this debacle, I'm not as excited as I was, because I was all in on the James Gunn train, but after this, it's like, oof, okay. They might need to do instead of doing that sort of soft, half-ass reboot thing that they've been trying to do. I think they really should just cut it all off. I love Peacemaker. I love Suicide Squad. I think he needs to just let it all go and just with Superman Legacy start from scratch right there. But at this point, that's what I'm feeling. But yeah, it's a shaky situation. But overall, the Flash movie, it happened. It existed. Could have been better. But we got what we got. Any final words on the Flash movie, D?
Yeah, I'm really looking. B or D?
I said D. My bad.
Oh, I still didn't hear what you said.
So good. No, I think the best thing that can come out of this is that Mary possibly exists in his own universe with Clooney's Batman, and now we can turn the tables and the most we can do going forward. I don't know if we'll ever get to think. I'm still traumatized from the first time I watched that film, but I'm trying.
Is everybody botting?
But I'm hoping for the best. So,
say that again. You started botting. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What'd you hear?
Yeah. I heard you said you're hoping for the best. Yeah, I hear you now. You were saying you were hoping for the best, and then it kind of went out.
Oh, okay. Did you hear anything I said before
that? You were like, no.
Go ahead. I heard Clooney traumatized by that film the first time.
Yeah, I heard Clooney. Yeah, I heard Clooney. Oh shit, he went out. Damn it. He must be having technical difficulties. Yeah. I heard something about Clooney. I think he said something about Barry being in his own universe with Clooney, which I think was kind of the joke they were going for.
Yeah.
But, who gives a shit about Clooney?
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, like, come on.
Right. I guess you want me to go ahead and say?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, I had a fun time watching The Flash for all of its faults. It's a nice way for them to end this universe with a whimper, but a fun whimper. And I'm looking forward to Blue Beetle, and that's where I draw the line at this point. I don't know if I care too much more.
I get that. And I hope Blue Beetle does well. But I'm not expecting it to do as bad as this. I will say I don't think it's gonna do as bad as the Flash. It might do just as well as
Shazam.
Well,
I'm hoping the
if
first.
It does
Shazam.
The first Shazam. If it does as good as the first Shazam, that is amazing.
Yeah. I'm sort of hoping, because it has the same feel of like it's the DCEU. I mean, it's not the DCEU. This one's supposedly the DCU, but it feels like this movie is like it likely has no reference to other superheroes besides former Blue Beetles and Batman, I guess.
Yeah,
but like that could be any comic book universe, as long as they don't go like and they show a picture of who knows, George Clooney or Batfleck. It feels like it's in its own little world. And I know Shazam had some elements of like, here's the Batarang and here's a paper from Metropolis. But like after they got past that scene, and I guess man, every time I keep thinking about it, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh no, that had a lot of ties too.
It did. Yeah, it had the Aquaman, Jason Momoa. Yeah. It had a lot of ties.
Did it have a Jason Momoa scene?
Mm-hmm. It had his Aquaman logo. Cause you remember Billy was like obsessed with all the superheroes. Yeah, it had the Aquaman stuff. Very much like the kid in Black Adam that was obsessed with the superheroes. He had the same shit. So yeah.
By the way, it still felt like it stood on its own, apart from the DCEU stuff at the time. Yeah, I feel.
Yeah. It's integrated enough. And like I said, they had the Wonder Woman cameo in the sequel. So, they did what they could.
Didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see the sequel? Oh, man. It's actually good. It's way better than this, I will say. That might be controversial. I don't know if Ian's going to see this, but yes, Shazam! Fear the Gods is better than the fucking Flash. I said it.
I'm just not the biggest fan of Zachary Levi.
I don't care. That movie was better.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, it was definitely better. It got shitted on, but it was better. So yeah, grade. You want to give it a grade? You got a grade for it? I guess that'll be the final thing, and then we get out of here.
Yeah, sure. C+.
Okay, C+. See, I'm right at a C. I give it a C.
I give it
5.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm on my personal scale, it's like an 8. I really enjoyed it. That doesn't mean it's good, but I really enjoyed it. But if I'm going purely on like how everyone else perceives it, yeah, it's like a C to a C+, maybe.
Okay. D, you there?
Yeah, the power went out, so I've been on the struggle. So
Got you. Is there a storm going on? You're in Texas, right?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a down south. So it's some power issues going on, which wasn't expecting, but it's okay.
Yeah. Grade, if you got a grade for this, and then we'll
I do real quick. The last thing I was saying, because I realized my mic was going out. No, I was saying I think the best thing to come out of this is that Barry can now exist in the universe that has Clooney's Batman at the forefront, Batman / Bruce Wayne, and maybe we can find a way forward. I don't know if we'll ever get Flashpoint. I still never forget how disturbed I was when I finally saw that film. But
they tried kind of.
You know what?
They tried kind of with this one.
Yeah. So I mean, I would love to see like it in its full glory. I don't know if we'll get that or not, but I hope I want to be hopeful as far as the vision and what they can do going forward. It's still kind of a mess right now, but at least maybe they can at least fix that whole part with Flash, and they can do more than this, because this was fine, but to me, as far as a grade, it kind of fell into like, I would say it's like C- territory for me. Not a horrible, absolutely horrible film, but just very middling and just a lot of weird flaws that I didn't expect to be there.
Okay, so C+, C, and C-. All right, so we're all in the sort of the same sliding scale, but nothing too, too crazy. All right, that's understandable.
We all recognize it could have been worse, but it definitely could have been better.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. All right, so we'll sign out. D, let the people know where they can find you, and also congratulations on hitting 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, congrats!
Yes, thank you, compadres. I appreciate it. It has been like pulling teeth, but yes, I'm very grateful to be here. This algorithm is a lot. So, but I think the best part has definitely been having that sense of community and support. Brogi, you already know. I still like. Did you find me because of Nagasi?
It was either Nagasi or were you on the stream with RJ? It might have been RJ a while back. Yeah, it was either it was either RJ or Nagasi. You came across. Okay. Yeah, it was one of the two.
So I was gonna say it's been awesome having you as a part of that, seeing your growth as well. You guys can find me here on YouTube at capital D. Capital D period space capital MOVIEMAN. That is D Movieman on my channel. I love discussing all things cinema with an occasional little recap or dip into a television show, and a lot of it that I discuss, along with trailer reactions from here to there, a lot of it is just getting into my appreciation of that medium, understanding the impact it's had on my life, going beyond just the entertainment side of things, but just talking about, about directors, about cinematography, about costumes, and then, how it ties into, my experiences throughout the years. What was it like when I saw this film when I was 5? What did this particular film teach me about the world? And what is it now as an adult like to look back at all these films with this adult lens and, appreciate them in a different way. So if you guys are into that and you just want to see just a different side of the film criticism scene, feel free to check me out. I am also available on Twitter at DMovieman2 and on Letterboxd and Instagram at DMovieman. That is all lowercase, no space.
All right. And Wally, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm one half of the podcasting duo between me and my father, Panel Surfing. It's a comic book review podcast. We talk about the comics that we read and loved growing up and the comics that we're still reading and learning to love now. And we're just going through that, introducing one another to these books, and it's been a real fun time. We're in season 2 now, crazy enough. So if you want to listen to that, you can find that anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We also have an Instagram. It's Panel Surfing Pod on Instagram. If you want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, it's just Wallace Brandon D. I post art, I post comics. That's pretty much everywhere you can find me.
All right. And you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and I guess TikTok, kind of. All things BrogiNaric. Got a secondary channel. Starting that up, doing funny reviews of various nostalgic superhero movies, trying to get that off the ground. So you can go subscribe to that. That's the newer venture there, but still going to be doing, occasional reviews and live streams like this to chop it up with different people in the community. But once again, thanks for coming. I enjoyed having you all. Words. I enjoyed having you all here, and hope to do this again in the future. And that's going to be it for now. And just say this.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.
All right. We'll close it out right there. Thanks for joining me, guys.
You got it.
All right. And we can always find you in those streets, Brogi, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
And your new channel is Brogi Superflix, right? Because you didn't name it.
Oh, I didn't name it. God damn it, you're right. Yeah, I didn't name it. I put the link in. It's Brogi Superflix. That's the
because you didn't say what it was called.
My bad. I did. I'm sorry.
It's good. Watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Yeah. But thanks for watching and stay tuned for more. All right. Peace.
Bye.